have covered everything that I wanted to say. Thank you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I was just listening and just in awe of the wisdom oozing from you. And I was just nodding actually because number one, I've just met you in a short time and I can testify to everything you said. You're a giver. When we were talking earlier, I said how amongst most of the speakers, are we live? I think. Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Did we cut off? So I can't see. Just give me a sec.
Okay.
Error while loading. It's probably my internet. Okay, here we go. I think we're still live. If we're live, can somebody just let me know that you can hear us? Let me know you can hear us. Let me know you can hear us. All right, thanks. Someone says we're live. Okay, good. I'm hoping it's good. Okay, good. So and I definitely can agree to all the things you've said.
Right.
It was good to at the Thriving Through Crisis Summit. You not only showed up as a speaker, but you were very engaging. It's the reason why you're here. You build relationships.
Yes.
It wasn't hard to tell you to, hey, post. We didn't even have to tell you to post to share the flyers and things like that. You just gave, which tells a lot about your person. You commented on other speakers and things like that. So guys, she's telling a story about who she really is. She's not faking it. This is who she really is. She's very intentional about connecting on social media, and she's very intentional about give. All right, let's go back to the beginning.
Right.
So you've got such an amazing, interesting story, and you were talking about it there. You were born in the UK. You had never lived in Lagos, never lived in Nigeria. How did you
I did live in Nigeria, actually, when I was in secondary school.
All right,
so I came to Nigeria briefly between the ages of 11 to 15, but that was a worry. I'd never lived in Lagos, but I lived in Nigeria.
Wow. So what took you back to Nigeria finally?
My husband.
You want to go into that a bit?
Yes, because because both of us have the similar journey. He was born in the UK and he came to Nigeria when he was 8. So he spent primary school, secondary, and university. He did his first degree in Nigeria, then went back to the UK as an adult. So somewhere in that adulthood, he met me. So when we met ourselves, there was no discussion about returning back to Nigeria. For all I knew, that's where all our families are. So it wasn't even a consideration. But 10 years into the marriage, he started to get itchy. He had friends that were doing so well in Nigeria. They were telling him to come and see what was going on. So he was toing and froing back to Nigeria for about 5 years and saying to me, Rita, we're going to Nigeria. And I didn't really think that we were coming back because we had actually bought a house just before leaving the UK, and it was like a dream house. It was in a nice area. And are you there? I was just thinking about my kitchen and all the nice things. And then all of a sudden he says, we are coming to Lagos. So it was a culture shock.
Oh wow.
Yes.
All right, so tell me a bit about, so you were born in the UK, just let's stay UK before we go to Nigeria. You were born in the UK. What was it like growing up in the UK as a Black British Nigerian girl?
Well, the thing about it is that I had come to Nigeria about 3 times before I actually came and did secondary school at that time. So it wasn't really a culture shock for me coming to Nigeria. We'd come on holiday to the village, So in terms of growing up in the UK, I had a teacher. There's a teacher that I'm looking for because that teacher always made me feel good about myself. She was always saying things to me, oh, Rita, you're a pretty girl, and all, you know, that type of thing. So that she instilled a lot of confidence in me, my teacher, just by, you know, maybe she was aware that maybe I was the only black girl in the class, but she was always esteeming me. So that really helped me. But I was actually thinking about it, especially with this conversation of racism and all that. I didn't really experience direct racism, but you know, maybe overt, but not direct. So yeah.
Okay, that's good. So, as a young girl growing up in the UK, a black British Nigerian girl,
Yeah.
and you look at your life right now, what were your aspirations as a child, and are you living those aspirations? Did you see where you were today? Did you have pictures of things like that as a child? Do you want to share a bit about that?
Yeah. When I was a child, I was a very confident child. I was one of these type of girls that we'd bring into a room, ask her to dance. I'd have no shame. I just dance because I still like to dance now. I was a very, very confident girl. But the thing I find with a lot of girls is that when you get to that puberty years, you know, like when you move from, say, from 0 to 10, you're confident. But when you enter into your teenage years, that's when you can start to doubt yourself, because there's peer pressure, you want to look a certain way, you know, that type of thing. So I noticed that it was when I was entering my teenage years that I started to have you know, like confidence issues. But growing up, like from 0 to 10, I was a confident girl, you know, I was always out there. I was very, you know, extrovert, always talking, always dancing, always playing, you know.
Okay, so is
Then
that
when I was a little girl, I wanted to be an actress, I wanted to be a singer, I wanted to be in front of the TV. My late dad was always taking photos of me. That's why I feel like I'm a bit comfortable in front of the TV, because in front of the camera, because I was always having my picture taken.
Oh, nice. That's good. So, do you think so? Because I know that, and we'll come to that. I know that one of your initiatives, the Confident Girls, is that?
Raising confident girls, yes.
Yeah. Could that be where that came from? Is that a desire to make sure that you're able to help young ladies be confident? Could you just talk into that a bit?
It wasn't anything to do with the UK. It was coming here.
Okay.
When I came into this environment, you know, there was a bit of a culture shock. I had to get used to what I call it, Lagosian way, you know, and I live on the island. And if you know anything about the island, I would say that this part of town, it's like there's a lot of materialism here, you know. And I have a daughter who is now back in the UK. But when I came here, I was going through my own internal issues with my surroundings, you know, and I was actually losing my confidence because I started to ask, question my value. Was my value my hair? Was it my bag? Was it my shoes? Was it my designers, you know? And then I had a young girl that I was supposedly raising, and I thought to myself, if I do not build that inner confidence inside myself, then my daughter is going to become like me. So that's where the idea of raising confident girls came from. It didn't come from the UK. It came from
here. So let's stay there a bit. So what has been your experience now that which goes back to you being the giver that you are. So that's now you've given back and giving confidence to young girls. What has been your experience? Is that something you're seeing growing? Can you share some testimonials around that? Yeah.
Because I think that I went through this insecurity where I wanted to belong. I wanted to be part of society, and that belonging was a kind of like a material thing. So if you were earning like a high salary or driving a flash car or having a bag, you know, all those external things were what my pressures were. And I had to go on a journey to realize to myself that my value is who I am because I exist, irrespective of whether I have all the trimmings, you know. I remember when I first relocated to Nigeria, because of the pressure, the year after I relocated, I went to the UK and I was looking for the biggest designer bag. I've written a blog about it where it says, I am not my bag. But there was this whole pressure to show people in this environment that I am just as valuable as you because I'm carrying this big designer bag, you know. But I tell you, it was a journey. And, you know, some of the journey was a bit painful, but, and especially from where I was coming from, because this was not just, this was also in the church, if you know what I mean. The whole pressure was from all aspects of society. And when I grew up in the UK, especially my early days, I remember going to a church called Dean Hall. it was a Baptist church, even though I'm Catholic, you know, I grew up a Catholic. But in that, in Dean Hall, there was so much purity. It was just about loving Christ and everything. And then I come to Nigeria in an environment where everybody is religious, but what I was taught about being a Christian was not what I was seeing, you know? So it was a battle. It was a battlefield for me, but, you know, I'm on the other side. And
do you mind us tapping into some of the lessons that you possibly picked out? If we can tweeze out some of the lessons that experience taught you, because I know what you're talking about. As an artist myself, I remember once when I went back to Nigeria, I was in Nigeria for 4 days, and I had loads of ministrations and all that, and I made so much money. I made so much money in 4 days. In fact, working as a contractor, I made so much money in 4 days that typically was 2 weeks of what I would have earned in the UK, even as a contractor, and earning a very high rate. And I found myself going down that rabbit hole and beginning to wonder, maybe I'm not supposed to be in the United Kingdom. You know, if I was in Nigeria, I would have been making so much money. I'll be doing this. But somewhere in our conversation on the plane, and I got myself out of the rabbit hole and started thinking, and I started looking at the people I met and the way people lived their lives. And my conclusion was that, you know what? I'm glad I'm in the UK, because the UK had taught me. It's the word is not content, but it's taught me to appreciate life and not materialism. So even though when I looked at it and looked at the opportunities of making more money, I wasn't sure, especially in that amongst the type of people I met and some of my friends who would want me to come to their house and all that. I just couldn't really see myself fit into that kind of lifestyle. So what can we mime? You have lived it. You've tasted it. What can we learn from your lessons and how you have been able to now master not being sucked into that kind of materialism, such that you're able to be yourself and just glow and be a blessing and still yet be in a position to give?
Yeah. You know, Aaron, I was brought here for a purpose, you know. Throughout the time that we've been in Nigeria for probably about 10 years, I've been saying to my husband, I want to go back to the UK. I want to go back to the UK. But I'll tell you something, all these lessons that I learned here, I probably wouldn't have learned them in the UK. So I'm actually, even though some of the experiences that I had were painful, you know, just in terms of people that I met, and maybe I was, you know, what they say, what word do they call it? This one is, she's too green. She needs to shine her eyes, you know. So even though, yes, I was probably a bit too green, but I'm glad it has strengthened me. It's made me the woman that I am. And the lessons learned is that whatever that you're bringing to the world, whatever value that you're bringing, you can share it. If there are certain things about a society that you don't like, you don't have to be part of that society. That is why on Raising Confident Girls, you know, we have things that it's our, you know, values are so important to us. Integrity, honesty, empathy, all the things that are inside of me, I can give it to society. I may not be able to affect everybody, but I will have a certain part of people that come in contact with me and my team and, you know, everything I stand for. And, you know, I'm changing lives. You know, I get messages from people saying, oh, how I've impacted them. And so that is my journey, that even though this place was tough, even though, you know, some people, you know, dealt with me, I'm actually glad, because it's made me a stronger person. Maybe I was too soft and too weak before. And the thing I find now is that wherever God leads me, being that I've, you know, because I've lived in Lagos, I can go anywhere in the world, because this place has given me resilience. You know, like we're in lockdown now, and a lot of people, when people are depressed and people, but I'm just focused on, you know, I've got my eyes up there and I've got my eyes focused, because I have gone through tough times. And me and my husband are both business people. So our businesses have gone up and down in so many seasons, you know. So where we are now, we've tasted it a lot of the times, you know. So I can now bring what I've gone through and help other people. So what my lesson is that everything that you go through in life is for a purpose. And when you're going through that thing, you may not realize where God is taking you with it. And if I didn't go through those experiences, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that I'm doing today. But God had to take me to a point where I had to be broken, because I was broken. I was like, you know, all my family are in the UK. My mom is in the UK. My sibling. What am I doing here? I kept saying to my husband, you know, people here are mean. They're mean. I don't want to be in this country anymore. Get me out of here. But it's good. It's been good for me. And I don't have, you know, I can gladly say today that I don't have regrets, you know.
Just inside before I go to the next place. How long have you been in Nigeria again?
12 years.
And how have you managed to still maintain your phonetics, your phone, still fresh?
Well, the thing I find with when you become an adult, you still have your intonation, whatever your accent you had when you were an adult, it doesn't really go. No, because when I went to Nigeria when I was 11, between 11 and 15, I lost my accent and I was speaking more like this, you know. So the thing with me is I can swap accents. If I'm speaking to a driver, I'm not going to speak to him like this. So one of my in-laws was like, Rita, your accent can just go up. He's from the Caribbean and he came to Nigeria for the first time. And he said to me, you can speak 4 accents in one conversation.
That's so good. Yeah. That's so good. So let's list some of your. So this is Rita. She's a serial entrepreneur.
Really.
Sorry, yeah, to the Nigerian. Yeah, we're in Nigeria. So really, so this is Riri. She's serial entrepreneur, international event planner, business trainer,
yes,
confidence coach, online course creator, blogger, ebook author. How are you doing all this? And you have 3 kids, you're managing a husband, and you're managing 3 kids. Talk to us. How are you such a superwoman?
I've been involved in a lot of networks. I've surrounded myself with these type of people. So it's the books that you read, it's the people that you expose yourself to. So I've been around high achievers and I've seen what they do. And the more you surround yourself with people that are doing well and are high achievers, you start to learn from them. So it's a case of what you've been exposed to. So okay, to a certain degree, I was exposed to it in the UK, but when I came to Nigeria, I'd say that I was exposed to really highly career-driven people here that are managing all sorts of things in their lives. So yes, that's why I think.
What would be your advice to young ladies, women, moms who are still struggling and trying to just get one thing done, but you're doing so many? How are you able to manage your time, manage being a mom, being a wife, and still making it happen?
Well, I will say to you, Aaron, that there are seasons of life. And when my kids were very little, I wasn't doing all this. My daughter's going to be 20 in October. My son just turned 18, and I have a 14-year-old. So I have more time to do all the things I'm doing. I have a sister that has very young children and she lives in the UK. I have quite a few sisters, but one of our youngest sister, she has 3 children and she doesn't have time to do all this. So I say to mothers especially, don't pressurize yourself. Everything has a season. So I have this season now. My kids are older. My husband, he can take care of himself sometimes, but yes, I'm in a season. So everything has a season. When my kids were younger, it was difficult for me, but now that they're older, I'm able to do a lot more. And it's also your mindset too. Yeah.
That's such a great lesson. Now, let's come back to the UK. So I'm speaking to Rita now. So when Rita...
Okay, all right, yeah. We can talk, mate. You know what I mean?
When Rita was in the UK, she's worked with top corporations. You worked with NatWest Bank, the Financial Times, Pride Magazine, Channel 5, BBC, right? These environments are notoriously very stiff upperly, managed by what we tag the old English big boys, male-driven environment. What was it like for you? Because most of my clients and most of the people on this group will find themselves in such environments. What was it like for you as a black woman in the corridors of corporate Britain, trying to carve out a career for yourself? Share that experience.
I was in the BBC the longest. I was there for 8 years. I don't know whether you could say I was a token black because there wasn't that many black people, but when I was at the BBC, it was when I was getting married and I was having children. So at that time, I was not as career driven because I didn't, but I know that the opportunities that were there for people of color were not very strong. So you'd see somebody that was working in a place for a long time and they were just not getting to that managerial role, or even if they were getting to managerial role, it was not a senior level. So there were challenges in that respect, but by the time I left, my children were quite young, so I didn't really experience that drive where I was trying to get to the top, if you know what I mean, because by then I had come here. But yeah, there were definitely times when I just felt to myself, I wonder how it would have been had I not left Nigeria. What position would I have been had I been there? Yes. But I do feel that it's, again, because I know people that are in the UK, I have friends there that are thriving because of their mindset, because they're doing well. Yes.
So let's go back to, so at the summit, you talked about relationships. That was such a big title we gave you, relationships.
Yes.
And that was as a result of Caroline knowing what you were doing. And she talked about relationships that create revenue. So this is not, we didn't come here to just say hi, hello. It's that these relationships have made money for you. So do you mind, I call it relationship currency. Do you mind talking to us a bit about that relationship currency and how what can we learn, how you have translated your relationships to be very profitable relationships?
Well, it's just what I was talking about before, and it's just that thing of having social capital. See your network as social capital, just the way you have money in the bank. The more, I remember one particular coach, his name was Bob Everington, and he said that the more people you know, the luckier you become. So it's a numbers game in terms of business. The more people you know, that's why you see influencers. People want to get in touch with influencers because they know so many people, so they get them to do sponsorships. So that's, as a business person, that's what your mindset has to be, is that you're meeting more people, because you know that the more people that you meet, the more business opportunities, the more contacts. But you can't do it in such a way that it's so blatant. It has to be a give and take. And that was what I was talking about before. It has to be interrelation. You have to nurture these relationships. And I have found that through networking, especially when I just think about my ebooks that I just launched after the summit, most of them came from networks. Most of them came from people that, I was just speaking to, people that have known me either through social media or just through other little groups that I'm in. And that was how I was, before that time, I could say that my revenues were very low. And then when I just started to network, most of the people that know me have actually bought my ebooks. So I'm just saying that's just a small example of what you can do wider than that. And even some of the big contracts that I was even talking to my husband about it, and we were both saying that a lot of the big contracts that we've both received in Nigeria come from people that have referred us. They haven't come from adverts, because a lot of the times with positions, they don't normally advertise them. These bosses are looking for people. They will say to you, do you know somebody that can do that job? Do you know somebody that can do that job? And you're trying to network so that you can be top of mind. So people that have called me to do some really phenomenal budgets, that were really high budgets of international events, they knew me because I was on top of mind. They knew me because of the networking relationship that we have. So when you think about it, when people want to reach out to you, they're going to be looking at people that they can always think about. Oh, I know Riri. Oh yeah, she's an international event planner, blah, 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 And it's the same for career. When you start to network with people, a lot of jobs are not advertised these days. Probably not now, because there's so many people that are wanting the job. So now, but when you network, a lot of the times it's through your contacts. So it's very important to network in this season.
So thanks for sharing that. I breezed through your ebook, and you mentioned you actually suffered from limiting beliefs and lack of confidence.
Yes.
How did that come about, and how do you deal with them limiting beliefs and confidence issues on a day-to-day basis? Yeah.
So that limiting belief came when I came here to Nigeria, to Lagos, and I started to think to myself, because there's this thing here about name dropping, names and all that. And I thought to myself, am I a name? Nobody knows, nobody, maybe if you go to a Warren, you ask people who my dad is, people will tell you, but in Lagos, they don't know me. So those were my limiting beliefs. They were, my beliefs were like, I can't really get that far because I don't know people. And, and I had to really take that out of myself. I had to think to myself, no, that even if I don't know, because people here, that is when I have conversations with a lot of young people, they say, oh, you have to know somebody, you have to know this person. And I say, you are telling yourself that that is your limiting belief. You know, you can still succeed. When you hear a lot of stories from successful people, they didn't even know people. So, but the narrative here is that, oh, you have to know that guy, you have to know this madam before you can get ahead. But that was something that I had to take off myself. That was something that I had to say to myself, that I have value. I know the value that I give. And once I started changing my beliefs, Aaron, that was when the opportunities started to arise. That was when contracts and things that I'd never done before started to arise, because it was the confidence. It was me saying, this is Riri, this is what I have, you know, and just showing my value, not who my father is or who my uncle is, you know? So that's what I mean.
Key things that you possibly had to do just to get grounded in who you were or who you are, whilst going through fighting those things here.
One of the things that I share in my ebooks is that thing of affirming yourself.
Yep.
So if every day you're saying, I am somebody, I am the head, I'm not the tail, you know, and all those kind of affirmations, I'm wonderfully and fearfully made. You have to continuously keep on telling yourself that all the time until you start believing it, because there's something that I also talk about in the ebook about the subconscious mind, and a lot of limiting beliefs come from childhood, don't they? Sometimes they come from what people have told you. So the subconscious mind, and by practicing and affirming yourself, you're removing all those negative things that you've thought of yourself. But you have to do it continuously until you start believing it. And one thing I say with confidence is like, it's like a muscle. The more you practice, the more you say, the more you believe. You know?
You're speaking my language. You're speaking my language.
Yeah.
That's good to hear that from you. So, I wanted to go to personal development, actually coming from where you're coming from. What prompted you into that journey? I mean, you're definitely sounding very self-driven. That comes from a lot of recognition, like you shared about yourself. So what prompted you to get into that whole self-development, personal development type thinking? Who are the people you look up to as mentors, as inspiration, if there's any, you know? Just share around those kind of things, yeah.
It started in the UK, actually. I've always been into personal development. I've always wanted to find a better version of myself, you know. But then when I came to Nigeria, I started to get into networks. I've been into so many different networks. One of the networks I started was IWOW. It's called Inspired Women of Worth, something like IWOW it's called for short. But I was in that network, and there was a lot of books that we were reading. We were reading books like, what's that guy's name again? Success Principles? Success Principles.
Napoleon Hill.
Yeah, pardon?
Napoleon Hill?
No, not Success Principles, Jack Canfield.
Jack Canfield, okay.
Yeah, so there were so many books that I was reading in that, and then I've been in other networks. A network that I belong to now is called Full Circle Wellness Solutions, and these are similar women to me that are career driven, and you know, we're always talking about how we can improve ourselves. So for me, being in this environment, I have really been around driven people, and I've been reading books that have got my mindset to where I am. I've even, had books from John Maxwell. The one that I really could recommend is 25 Ways to Win with People. I don't know if and that's quite great. I have quite a few books that he has upstairs. So it's something that I've always been, for quite a while now, for the past, I'd say 20 years, I've been reading all sorts of personal development books. Yes. That's
good. That's investment. So what prompted this journey? No, actually, let's go to your entrepreneurial journey. And what would you, 2012, right? That's 2008 to 2012, you moved to Nigeria.
Yes, 2008.
Wow, that's a long time. What would you tell a young Riri today who is thinking of leaving the UK to Nigeria? What advice would you give her?
Well, one thing that happened to me when I came here is I came here with my arms wide open and I was like, hi, everybody. I would say to the Riri of 2008, cool down. Kind of like, find your environment, watch people, I think there was probably an innocence of me being that way, that type of thing. So, I mean, I didn't go into entrepreneurship straight away. I did work for 3 years in different companies. But I would say that just, And my daughter's the opposite of me. She's the cautious one. I was a bit too, like out there, So I would say that wherever you go in the world, try and stand back a bit, try and understand the people, understand, where your environment is before you start pushing yourself out there. So that's what I would say to
So,
really.
so on the entrepreneurial journey, can you possibly take us through how you got into each of the spaces you got into? I believe that with purpose, you hold it, you do something, it introduces you to the next, introduces you to the next. So what was the first for you, and how did you get into this journey? And if you're able to track how you moved from one
Yes.
stage to the other, that would be helpful.
So when I was, for 1 year, I was working in a church office as head of events. Um, and then during that time, I had said to myself that I wanted to step out and I wanted to become an event planner. And I actually wrote it down. And there's something about writing things down, I tell you, it's very powerful. But anyway, I had worked in that environment for a year. And as the end of the year was coming, my position, that job was closing. They didn't need an events person anymore. And I was let go. And I was really upset. I was like, why are they letting me go? But I went back to my journal and I'd written that I want to leave that place by the end of the year. What I'd actually written had actually come true, So by that end of the year, I was gone. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do next? But funny enough, that's when I got into event planning. But one thing that happened to me was that I became an event planner for everything. I was like kids event planner, I was weddings, I was just doing all sorts of things, And one thing I would say to entrepreneurs from my experience is that you have to niche down, because if you're just known for everything, you're known for nothing, And what changed in my season of when things started to get better for me as an event planner was when I decided that I was doing milestones and corporate events. So by then, people knew that Riri was the milestone event. So if it was your 50th, 40th, 80th, your parents' 80th, 90th, whatever, that was what I was known for. So I know when you start off, you're just like all over the place, but if you can try and niche down quickly, it will help you in that journey of really solid, becoming solid in what you do and what you're known for. So that's what happened.
I'm not going to spend much time on my next on my next thought right now, because there's so much debate around it. But I would like to actually hear your thoughts around feminism. What are your thoughts around feminism?
I'm old school.
Good.
Well, in the sense of, maybe it's because of the type of person I am. I'm born in October, early October. People wear balance, so
Wow, October makes sense. Go on.
So I believe in fairness. I believe in equality, but I do feel that there's different roles in the, like in my household. For example, if they take light and everything, it's my husband and my son that are going to go and start switching on the generator and doing all those type of things, those manual. I mean, if I have to do it, I will, but do you know what I mean? In terms of those roles, I just feel that they are, he is stronger than me in that capacity, but it doesn't mean that we're not equal partners. So that's where I mean about old school. I just feel that there are certain things I just don't want to do. I mean, if he can do them, then yeah. But I do believe in equal rights. I do believe that, in terms of gender equality, that if there are certain things that you can do, it's your skill that should count and not your gender.
Nice.
I'm not old school. I'm not hardcore in the sense of I still do like my daughter. If me and Muna are going somewhere, I like him to open the door for me. I don't want to be the one to open the door for him. I'm old school in that respect. That's what I mean by old school. I like that. I'm a romantic at heart, so
Wow. Nice. So, let's talk family. So, how have you been able to manage? Has it been balanced, or has it been, how have you been able to manage running all the stuff you do and still being the mom you are? Because even just listening to you, you can hear a great relationship with your children and your husband. So, what can we learn in your journey?
So my older two are in the UK. They live there now. They used to live here, but one of them is first year in university, and my son is just waiting for his A-level results. So they've both gone back to the UK to study. So in terms of our older two, a lot of, especially because we were supposed to travel this week actually for summer holidays before this lockdown happened. So we're not going to see them until we don't really know. So but another thing too is that all our family are in the UK.
Yeah.
Me and my husband and our youngest are the only ones here. My mom is in the UK. All my siblings are in the UK. All of my husband's siblings are in the UK. So that was why it was crazy for people like, everybody's in the UK. Why are you guys still in Nigeria? You know? So, but we do travel a lot. We're still connected to the UK. You know, we still have our friends, all our friends that we had before we left, we're still there. So anytime we come on holiday, we do see them, or if they come to Nigeria. So we're still connected. We still have that. And that's an important thing that I want to say, that have that global contact. These days, it's not enough to just be in one location. And I'm seeing that now more because I'm starting to network and I'm starting to go into places where I'm seeing people from Zimbabwe and all sorts of places. So globally, we're getting, you know, life is getting smaller. So you don't have to just be connected to Nigerians or British. The world is smaller now. It's a global market.
Nice, nice, nice. As we begin to kind of come to a wrap up, what can we expect from Riri? What more? Well, definitely, you don't sound like somebody who's retiring. You don't sound like.
I'm not retiring at all. Aaron, it's all about this digital space.
Yep.
You see this digital market, I'm going to conquer it. You
Yep.
see all this course creation, because I used to do a lot of course creation offline, like, you know, helping banks trade. I haven't got to that point where I can say, yes, all my online courses are just flying off the shelf, but I know it's possible. I've seen the possibilities. So everything that I was doing offline, I'm taking it online, and it's going to blow up. You know, I know that there's a strategy. It doesn't blow, nothing blows up overnight. That's one lesson that a lot of younger people have to learn, because in Nigeria, we have this terminology that we say, hey, she blew, hey, they blew, you know, and I keep telling my kids, there's nothing like blow. That even if it seems like the person blew, like they got famous overnight, there was a lot of background.
Yep, there's a lot of background work.
Yeah, so there's nothing about blowing, but just have a strategy and just, you know, find the people, because that's important too. Mentorship, young people, finding people, like even Chisa, my daughter, she's into cupcakes. I think that's the thing that she does on the side, but I'm trying to get her, I've been introducing her to bakers, to people in the industry in the UK that are doing well, and she's connecting with them. So mentorship, finding people that are doing it, watching them. Even me, I'm never too old. I need to learn from the young people. The millennials are the ones that they're showing me, they're teaching me.
You don't come across old at all, you don't know age at all. Maybe we should talk about that. What's the secret? What's the secret? What's the secret to being young?
I don't know, you know. Some people are quite annoyed with me. They're like, don't you want to age, Riri? But I think partly it's genetic. And then I think not taking yourself too seriously. And don't frown a lot. If you frown, your face will just stay wrinkled out. But, you know, it's the grace of God, really. It really
Wow,
is.
this has been an amazing conversation. Let me give you some time. I just want you to, if this was your last time that you had to speak, and for everyone who's listening, what are the top 5 things you want to tell them? Look, go do this thing. This is what I haven't done. I wish I had done. Or this is what I've done. I know that. Look, just get a life and get going. What would be your final type of advice and counsel for people just to get up and go, which is what thriving is all about? We know the crisis has happened. We know things are happening. We know that life is not as we've always seen it. But people like you are thriving. People like you are still selling. People like you are still networking. You've not got to put your head in the sand, but you're still showing up and being relevant. So what would be your advice and counsel to people, even in times like this?
In times like this, the first thing I would say is do your best. You can only do your best, Aaron. You can't do more than, as long as you're doing something. Because when this lockdown happened, a lot of people just got stuck. And that was one thing I didn't want to do. I said to myself, and that is why I think I'm a positive person, because I know that I'm giving my best shot to this life. You know, I may not have the sales that I was having before this lockdown. I may still be pushing but I'm doing my best, and that's all you can do. Do your best, okay? Do research, find people that can help you, because sometimes in the journey of trying to do something, if you don't know, it's faster to get connected with others. That's why networking is very good. Because something that will take you 1 year, somebody has already done it, and then that thing can take you like 2 months to do, you know? So connect with people. People are important. No man is an island. We are all in this together, you know? And don't take yourself so seriously. Sometimes, Aaron, I'm sure you've seen me when I come out and I dance and all that, and people are like, why is Rita dancing? And I'm like, as Nigerians would say, I cannot come and kill myself, you know? dance like nobody's watching, you know? I mean, there's been quite a few, you know, people have lost their lives in this season, you know, and it just shows you how frail this life is. And I think that for me, because I lost my father 4 years ago, my father was one person that he just went to sleep and didn't wake up. And that was like that was a wake up call for me in 2016. I just thought, and my dad was more, you think I'm lively, my dad was more lively than I am. The man went to sleep and didn't wake up. And I think that was my turning point to say, this life, you see this life, until I die, you see me in that, you know, I am going to rock this life and give it my total 100%.
Wow.
And that is what I've been doing.
Wow. This has been an inspirational conversation. I didn't expect anything less.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Thank you. I mean, you're changing lives, and you know, you're having so many conversations, and people are being impacted, and that's the thing. That's the goal in life. But somebody says to me, "Oh, Rita, your ebook or your course or whatever, your conversation helped me in any way." I've done my bit. You know, it doesn't have to be about chasing all the material things. And
that's so good. That's so good. And I'm glad Caroline connected us. I'm glad we met.
Yes, Caroline is my birth mate. We're born on the same day.
Oh wow! No wonder you have like.
I'm calmer than Caroline, though. Don't tell I said that.
Let's keep Caroline secret. You are definitely calmer than Caroline, and it just makes sense. So we're all October kids, so it makes perfect sense.
So you're October too, are you?
Yeah, later October 20th. Okay. So I'm so glad our paths crossed. I can so see us do so many great things. You're definitely going to be serving this community as we plan out so many things. Thank you for being a blessing. Thank you for being a voice for young ladies. Thank you for being that coach who can help inspire confidence in women.
Yeah,
and
so
just want to say from us, we're your supporters. We're going to keep rooting for you. We're following you. We're watching you. Thanks for being such a great inspiration, Riri. God bless you. God bless you. Everybody, let's just say a big thank you to Riri for serving us. For serving us this evening. Thank you. Thank you, Riri. God bless you, and catch up with you very soon. All right, bye everybody. Monday next week we're back here. I don't know who my guest is yet, but you can be sure my guest next week will be inspiring, will bring a message of hope, will bring a message of inspiration. And until then, we've got so many plans for this group. We're going to be starting the Faith Day very soon on Sundays, and so many other plans from the new month. So stay connected, stay in this group, and things are beginning to happen. Have a great week, everybody. And once again, thank you, Riri, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Bye.